Hey gang, it's Tim and welcome to Focus Friday. So today I want to talk about something that's on the mind of almost every service business owner that I work with. Work mostly with agencies, but everybody's concerned about scale. And there are two ways to scale if you're a service business. You can scale horizontally, sort of, where you just get more customers that look like the ones you already have. And so you just build a bigger organization that's doing the same service over and over again. Or you can scale your customer quality. So you can make it possible for you to get customers that pay you more. Now, honestly, most service business owners choose the latter. They charge to increase their customer quality, but frankly, both are acts of scale, and you guys can argue about which one is right. Quickly, there is no right answer. There's only a right answer for you. But many people think that it's a set of tactics that allow you to scale. It's a Facebook ads methodology, or it's a particular set of closing methodologies that allow you to scale. Well, I hate to break it to you, but those aren't the ways that you scale. First, you make a choice to scale. Scale just doesn't happen. It's not inevitable, and it's not a function of your business getting better at what it does or a function of you being around a long time. Scale is a choice. It's an active choice. And the active choice comes in two flavors. And the primary one that I want to talk about today is the choice of thinking about what you need to do in order to prepare yourself to run an organization that's scaling in one way or the other. And so this means you have to be dispassionate about your own skill set. And as you start to scale, being good enough at something isn't good enough. You have to be really good at it. So you have to understand where your weaknesses are. And there are two ways to deal with weaknesses. Number one is you can work on them and mitigate them and sort of make yourself better, which is absolutely a good thing to do. But if you are scaling, there may be skills that you can't learn because you don't have the attributes to learn them, or they're not crucial for you to learn, and expertise of that skill set probably belongs to live at somebody that works with you, not in the leader seat. As a, for instance, sales process, if you may not be a great salesperson, you might be okay, you might be pretty good, but when you're trying to scale, especially if you're trying to scale into a set of circumstances where you're working with higher quality clients that have more choices and have a more complex sales cycle, that might be a skill set that you choose to hire for rather than learn yourself. But what's really important here is that you have to understand that in order to scale, your skill set, not as a marketer or even as a strategist or any that sort of stuff, or as a doer of the things that your company does, your skills probably don't need to increase there. What has to happen is the skills of management, planning, foresight, empathy, and compassion need to scale. Because you cannot lead a team of people without understanding what they need to do in order to accomplish the mission of your company. But also you have to understand what you need to do in order to facilitate the mission. So that might be involving experts who have a competency that you don't. That might be hiring a chief revenue officer, or a vice president of marketing, or a manager of demand generation, because you owning that skill isn't going to help the entire organization. That sort of concentrates the power in the leader seat. And functionally, that's really bad because you're only one person. You only have so much bandwidth. And by the way, this is not only talking about leaders of companies, but leaders of divisions, leaders of teams, and even solopreneurs. You have to make the choice, like, if I'm going to scale, what do I need to learn how to do that? Because wherever you are today, wherever you are at this very moment, in order to amplify, change, accelerate, make more dramatic your success, will demand that you learn different skill sets. And quite honestly, it is almost entirely skill sets that did not get you to this point. So for instance, if you are an advertising agency owner, you can actually get a pretty long way with being the best marketer in your company and sort of being the head strategist for everybody and doing a bunch of stuff yourself. But does that help you get past $2 million a year? No, it does not. Now, you might be awesome. You might feel great at $2 million a year. And if you do, that's cool. And that's a choice. Like if you get to $2 million a year and you're loving your work and you're loving your team and you're loving your clients, that's super awesome. As a matter of fact, I have a client who made the choice. They were at I don't know, $3 or $4 million a year in sales. And they decided, listen, we are going to scale this. And so they brought in a bunch of they sort of decentralized leadership, and they built a bigger agency, and they were making a lot more money. And then they realized, like, OMG, I hate this. So they pulled back and they reverted to a place where they were happier. So scale is a choice, not a necessity or an inevitability. But if you are making the choice to scale, make the choice. Be dispassionate, understand which skill sets you need to develop within yourself, and also which skill sets are best to acquire through hiring somebody. And this is hard. Like, this is a filter point for service businesses, because if you as a leader don't make the right choice about your skill sets or adding skill sets or mitigating potential weaknesses, if you don't make the right choices, you are not going to scale. And so you have to think about where you want to go and what gets you there, not what you can do personally. Because you might find that many of the things that you've handled extraordinarily well, at $1 million a year, are completely overwhelming to you at $2 million a year or $5 million a year. And you might find that your sharp strategic insights that are so good for those clients who are making $1 million a year in revenue, well, when you're faced with a client who's making $10 million a year in revenue, your marketing insight and strategies might fall apart a little bit. And that's okay, because you don't have to be the best at everything. The choice to scale comes down to a choice of understanding that you are not the best at everything, and that you are willing to find those people and resources that are the best at the thing that you need to have done. And your skill, your fundamental skill, is in the identification of what needs to get done, and then creating the resources and opportunities to make that happen. So if you are deciding to run in a direction, if you're deciding to run further than you ever have before, that's great. That's admirable and exciting. But it requires that you make a choice about your skill set and what you need to learn versus what you need to add. And that's hard. It requires a significant level of dispassionate. It requires a significant level of self-understanding. And it requires a significant level of confidence, because you know what? The first time you hire somebody who is way better at you than something that you've done traditionally, it can be a little bit threatening. But you are making choices for your organization, not for you. And so you can be proud of the fact that you have identified, holy guacamole, I cannot run the sales team, or I cannot run the delivery team, or I cannot run the service team, because I'm in charge of creating systems, processes, and opportunities for other people to run those teams that are in their zone of brilliance. And my zone of brilliance is in creating the opportunities for the mission to be accomplished. And it's different. So just remember, whenever you are feeling stuck, whenever you feel like you've hit a ceiling or a point that you cannot push through, it's because you're trying to do more of what got you here. And you need to remember that what got you here will not get you there. So you've got to figure out what the delta is, both personally and organizationally. This is tough stuff. It's hard. And frankly, it requires an extraordinary amount of introspection and help. I mean, that's sort of why I exist. I help people through this. I help them identify their strengths and weaknesses in themselves and their organizations, and we create plans to blast through those limitations so that they can scale. But I want you to know you don't have to, because scale is a choice. It's not a mandate, and it's not inevitable. So if you make the choice to scale, make the choice to change. That's it. That's today's Focus Friday. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.